Shohei Ohtani's first home run of the 2026 season looks like a simple turning point. A
Shohei, I was
three-run
wondering if you
blast,
could
a
hear
tied
the
game, momentum
chants in
flips,
Toronto the last
Dodgers
couple
win
nights
big.
saying
But here's the truth. That swing didn't change the game. It exposed what had already started to break underneath the surface. Because this wasn't just about one pitch leaving the yard. It was about timing, sequencing, and a pitching plan that unraveled in less than 5 minutes. And once it cracked, the Dodgers didn't just capitalize, they
Shohei, I was
systematically
wondering if you
dismantled it.
could hear
Early in the
the
game, the
chants
Washington
in
Nationals
Toronto the
struck
last couple
first.
nights saying
CJ Abrams launches a three-run homer in the first inning, clean, decisive, aggressive. The Dodgers, meanwhile, were still searching. Ohtani entered the game hitting just .167. No home runs, limited contact. Through 2 innings, it looked like a continuation of that slow start. Then the third inning happened.
Shohei, I was
Ohtani
wondering
hits a
if you could
three-run homer to
hear
tie the
the
game.
chants
2
in
batters
Toronto
later,
the last
Mookie
couple
Betts
nights saying
hits a 2-run shot. Soon after, Andy Pages goes deep, then Freddie Freeman adds another.
Shohei, I was
By the
wondering
end of
if
it, the
you could
Dodgers weren't
hear
just
the
back, they were in
chants in
complete
Toronto the last
control.
couple nights
Final
saying
score,
we don't need
13-6. On the surface, the story is straightforward. Ohtani breaks through. The lineup feeds off it. The Dodgers offense wakes up all at once. This is the classic superstar ignition theory. Your best player sets the tone,
Shohei,
everyone
I was wondering
follows.
if you could hear
There's also the
the
psychological angle.
chants in
Early
Toronto the
deficit,
last couple nights
quiet
saying we
bats,
don't
then one swing resets confidence. From there, it becomes contagious. Pitchers lose command, hitters get aggressive, the scoreboard snowballs, and given Ohtani's slow start, it feels even more fitting. The moment he finds his rhythm, everything else clicks into place. But that version is incomplete. The key to this inning wasn't power. It was pitch sequencing failure. Washington didn't lose this game because of one mistake. They lost it because they repeated the same mistake in different forms. Start with Ohtani's at-bat. He had seen a steady diet of cautious pitching early in the season, off-speed, edge of zone, trying to induce chase, and it worked. His numbers showed hesitation, not timing. But in this at-bat, the Nationals shifted approach. They challenged him. The pitch that left the yard wasn't just poorly located, it was predictable in context. A hittable pitch in a count where Ohtani could finally sit on something firm. That's the first crack. Now here's where it compounds. After the home run, Washington doesn't adjust. They don't reset the sequence. They stay aggressive in the zone, likely trying to regain control quickly. That decision is critical because now you're facing Mookie Betts with a pitcher who just gave up a game-tying home run, and you're still attacking without disruption. Betts punishes it. Then comes Andy Pages. Same pattern. Elevated contact. No real shift in pitch mix. Freddie Freeman follows, and by that point, the pitcher isn't executing, and the hitters are fully synced. This wasn't randomness. This was a lineup recognizing repetition and attacking it with precision. Here's what most people missed. This inning wasn't sparked by Ohtani's swing. It was triggered by the absence of disruption. At no point did Washington slow the game down. No mound visit after Ohtani's homer. No clear adjustment in sequencing. No reset in tempo. And in baseball, that's everything. When a pitcher loses rhythm, the only way to recover is to break the flow. Change pace, change approach, force hitters to think again. That never happened. So instead of 5 separate at-bats, this became one continuous event, one long, uninterrupted breakdown. Once Ohtani tied the game, Washington didn't lose control. They lost the ability to interrupt the moment. And that's far more dangerous. The decisive moment wasn't the home run. It was the at-bat
Shohei, I was wondering
immediately
if you
after.
could hear
When Mookie
the
Betts stepped in,
chants in
that
Toronto
was
the
the
last
pivot
couple
point.
nights saying
Not because of the result, but because of the opportunity. That was the moment to reset everything. New sequence, slower tempo, possibly even a pitching change depending on feel. Instead, Washington stayed linear, and Betts' home run confirmed it. Nothing had changed. From there, the inning was effectively decided
Shohei, I was
because
wondering
once
if you
elite
could
hitters
hear
recognize
the
consistency in
chants
pitch
in
patterns,
Toronto the last
they don't
couple nights saying
hesitate, they accelerate. The game didn't flip on Ohtani's swing. It flipped when Betts realized nothing was going to change. For the Dodgers, this game reinforces something deeper than raw offensive talent. Their lineup doesn't just hit mistakes. They identify patterns quickly. That's a championship-level trait. You're not relying on
Shohei, I was
randomness,
wondering
you're
if you could
exploiting
hear
structure.
the
And when pitchers
chants
fail
in
to
Toronto
adapt,
the
the
last couple
Dodgers
nights
don't
saying
just score, they avalanche. For Ohtani, this moment matters,
Shohei, I was
but not for
wondering
the
if you
obvious
could
reason.
hear the
Yes, it's his first home
chants in
run.
Toronto
Yes,
the
it
last
ends the
couple
slow
nights
start
saying we don't
narrative.
need
But more importantly, it shows his timing is closer than his numbers suggest. He didn't expand. He didn't chase. He waited. And when the pitch came, he was ready. That's a dangerous signal for the rest of the league. And with him also returning to
Shohei, I was
pitching
wondering if
form,
you could
6
hear
scoreless innings
the
earlier in the week,
chants in
his
Toronto
overall
the last
impact is
couple nights saying
stabilizing
we don't.
faster than expected. For Washington, the lesson is sharper. Talent didn't beat them. Inflexibility did. Shohei Ohtani's first home run of 2026 will show up in highlights as the moment everything changed. But the real story is quieter and more revealing. The Dodgers didn't win because of one swing. They won because they recognized a pattern before Washington could correct it and then exploited it without mercy. In a game defined by inches and milliseconds, that's the difference. Not power, not momentum, but the ability to adjust one pitch faster than your opponent. He was late, unusually late, and for a hitter like him, that's when the noise starts. Because when Shohei Ohtani doesn't hit home runs, it doesn't feel like a slump. It feels like something's off. 7 games in, no homers, a .167 average. For most players, that's a rough stretch. For Ohtani, that's a warning sign. And then Friday night flipped everything. Facing the Washington Nationals, the Los Angeles Dodgers were already in trouble. Early damage. A 3-run shot from C.J. Abrams in the first inning. Momentum, gone. Pressure, building. And Ohtani walked into the 3rd inning carrying all of it. This is where stars either press or respond. 3 runners on, game slipping, and then one swing. A fastball over the plate. Ohtani didn't miss. The ball exploded off his bat and disappeared into right field. 3-run homer. Game tied. Just like that. That was the moment. Not just his first home run of 2026, but the release valve for everything that followed. Because 2 batters later, Mookie Betts went deep. Then Andy Pages followed. Then Freddie Freeman added another. 4 home runs across 2 innings. The Dodgers didn't just come back, they detonated. And it all started with the one guy who hadn't delivered yet. That's the tension. Because coming into this game, Ohtani didn't look like himself. The timing was off. The contact wasn't there. Pitchers were challenging him and winning. But here's the turning point nobody can ignore. He wasn't lost. He was waiting. Ohtani has done this before. Slow starts, quiet stretches, then one swing resets everything. Last season, his first homer came early April too, and he still finished with 55. That's the pattern, and now it's happening again. But this time it hits differently, because Ohtani isn't just a hitter anymore. He's back on the mound too. Earlier this week, he threw 6 scoreless innings against the Cleveland Guardians at the Nostrais. So while the bat was quiet, the arm was already speaking. Now both are alive. That changes the entire equation. The Dodgers don't need Ohtani to carry them every night. But when he ignites them like this, they become overwhelming. Pitch around him and the lineup punishes you. Attack him and he flips the game in one swing. There's no safe option, and the impact goes beyond one win. A 13-6 explosion, a lineup firing top to bottom, and a superstar back on track with 155 games still ahead. That's not a correction, that's a warning, because around the league, other power hitters are still searching. Aaron Judge is just heating up. Cal Raleigh hasn't even left the yard yet. But Ohtani, he just reminded everyone how fast things can change. One swing, one moment, one spark. And suddenly the most dangerous player in baseball looks exactly like himself again.